Our world is soaring toward 2012. Time is speeding up. Chaos is shifting into a new level, and we feel the pull to unlock the mysteries of the universe. Timeless spiritual wisdom offers the point of stability to navigate these times and to open our greatest potential. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the fun and knowledge of visionary best-selling authors Sri and Kira as they explore these mysteries and invite your higher love to come forward. And now, here are Sri and Kira.
Namaste. I am wisdom teacher Sri Ram Ka.
And I am Kira Ra. And welcome, beloveds. Welcome to 2012 Higher Love. And we are diving into it. Big brother, big bother.
Yes.
What's going on? I mean, what's really going on out there? And what are we willing to sacrifice in the name of safety, in order to get rid of our perceived fear, in order to move forward? Is this spiritually contrived? Are we being manipulated or not? Are we letting it happen? I mean, are we the co-creators, Sri?
Well,
what's going on?
I'll tell you what, it's been about 27 years since 1984.
Oh, he can count. I'm so impressed.
This part's working.
It is. It's working really well, I might add.
27 years since that magic date, 1984, and many of our listeners are not even 27 years old.
Yeah, which is really wonderful. I'm so glad you're here.
And so consider for a moment the prophecy that was in that book about Big Brother and the need to control all society, and the fact that the members of the society were seeking recreational numbing.
Well, you know, we've been talking a lot about this, right? I mean, really, Sri, the past 3 shows, I don't know whether we've been numbing or not. Yes, Soma.
Soma.
Uh-huh. Well, that's a whole drink from India, and you know, there's
a
whole Soma dialogue.
It was like a little sugar cube.
Yeah, well, that too. But it could be a lot of different things. However, you know, we've been diving into this subject because here we are. We're halfway through 2012, right? We're in June 2012, and it doesn't matter when you're listening to the show; it's still relevant. But here we are in June 2012, and things are heating up. You know, things are happening, and in the name of not feeling, you know, safe, we've allowed a lot of things to happen. And this Orwellian future, this Orwellian society is coming up. It's coming forward right now, and it's something we need to pay attention to.
You know, I think the Orwellian vision has been with us a long time.
Yeah, well, that's true.
The government controls and the monitoring of society and the members of society has in fact been going on as long as there's been government.
Well, that's true. And you know, in our book 2013, Mayan Sunrise, isn't that it? Yes. Okay, there's the brain cramp. Don't you love it?
How many fingers?
Well, Sri. Okay, so where I was going was in our book 2013, Mayan Sunrise, and if you haven't read it, go read it, because there's a lot of really important information and revelation about the fact of the new caste system. And the reason I'm bringing this up right now is part of this big brother, big bother is we are seeing the evolution of a new caste system. You know, for eons, people have known about the caste system in India, the religious order, which was a societal structure, which was a way of being. And then we've had, you know, the serfs and the kingdom. And the reality is that we are entering a whole new world of a caste system where the priests, and I use the word priest kind of generically, right, have always been at the top.
They don't need to be wearing a special adornment.
Right. They don't have to look like this or any other way. But the reality is that with the priest, you are the new priest. And unless you can step into the model of recognizing you are the new priest, and really go read our book, 2013 Mayan Sunrise, it's all in there. This new model is happening right before you. The question is where you want to wind up in it.
Let's just back up a second. So what is the role of the priest? Now forget about saving your soul. Forget about teaching you that.
Well, forget about the box, right? Forget about the priest box.
Okay. And let's
Even
let's look at it from the standpoint of social order.
Okay, let's do that.
Political order. Throughout the millennia, the role of the priest is to anoint the king, to anoint the ruler.
Well, okay, so not only is the role of the priest, I just have to giggle and say, how many of you watched the 60th Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth? And if you didn't, Sri and I were giggling about this the other day. Oh, stop.
Oh, it was so
Yeah, Sri's
exciting.
sitting here yawning, you guys. So here's the deal. What giggled me out, and I mean really I thought was really funny, was there was a picture of, I was appealing to the concert piece. I was like, oh, cool, hot music, I'm into that, right? You know, a lot of people I enjoy were there. But there was this picture, and this flower loves me, doesn't it? I have this flower falling on me. I love these flowers. Anyway.
These are called ginger.
Well, yeah, but they're a different kind of ginger. So back to our queen and the role of the new priest.
You remember the attention span of a goldfish?
Yeah, well, that was last week's show. Sure. All right, stop being a glub. He's being a fish. All of the, there was, let's see, it was Elton John, Tom Jones, there were a few others. Paul McCartney. Yeah. They had all been anointed by the Queen.
Knighted.
That's why I'm laughing is this picture was like, photographed with the Queen is Sir Tom Jones, Sir Paul McCartney, Sir Elton John. And I was laughing because going back to what we're sharing here, Sri, the point of the priest has been to anoint the queen, or the king, or the royalty, whatever it is, but the ruler. But the point of the ruler is to make sure that those who are in their kingdom are paying homage in exchange for favors.
And safety and a predictable structure.
Right.
So the entire reason there's dogma, the entire reason there are rules of the land is to create a system whereby it's predictable and orderly and can be managed.
Exactly. And where you can be managed. And this is where we come back to big brother, big bother. You know, you look at, let's face it, I think the world has really gone crazy since 9/11, 2001.
Well, that was certainly a consolidation point of insanity.
Well, and a consolidation point of rallying around fear to be able to accrue masses into a new caste system, thereby offering greater control.
Well, and I just want to pick up on what you said because there's a valuable point. There's a discernment to be captured. So if you're the priest,
and you are,
that means you get to choose who's the authority, who's the king in your kingdom. And I'll just leave you there because you might say, well, what about me?
Well, I hope you are. I hope you're saying that because, you know, the reality is, and this is a little bit about what we've talked about in 2013 Mayan Sunrise, where we actually go back through the antiquity, all the way back into the earliest prehistoric, I think we go all the way back to around 4 BC in our book, charting and showing the evolution of the tax system, the evolution of serfdom, the evolution of a working class.
Now, believe me, we do this very quickly so it doesn't get boring.
Well, no, actually, I think it's so fascinating. And the reason it's so fascinating is, you know, why are movies like, well, let's go back to dearly departed Aaron Russo. Why was Freedom to Fascism so popular? Because Aaron got out there and said, hey, pay attention. Pay attention. Look at what's happening. And the reality, beloved ones, is pay attention.
So we pick up on this big brother theme, which 30 years ago, 50 years ago, it was the Cold War. It was spies. It was, it
was sexy.
It was
sexy.
Oh yeah, it was cloak and dagger.
Baby. It was like, hello, let me do you, and then let us talk more. No, it was very sexy. I'm sorry, guys, I had to go there for a minute.
Okay.
Sri is still there.
However, here's the thing. The ones that wish to control you, that is, those behind the monitor in the 1984 allegory, which is really what it is, have gotten more sophisticated. So certainly there have been powers that be that are working behind the scenes, and this is not a show on that controversy.
We're not going into that.
Okay, this is
You're already there, but we're not going into it.
You can have fun and investigate that all you want. What we seek to stimulate in you is the recognition that you have choice, that you have power, and that there is a greater universe than what you might think.
You are the priest.
The box is a little bigger than most people realize.
Absolutely. You know, I remember as a child, I remember being so chastised by the nuns. I was in a Catholic girls' school for a while, and whole other show, whole other story.
She flunked out.
Yeah, well, no. What I flunked out of was being a good Catholic girl, and on lots of levels. But the reality is that what happened was, I remember I used to question. And I would constantly question and constantly question and constantly question. And the nuns used to get, this one sister, God bless her, Sister Redempta, used to turn bright red. She'd get so red, and she would look at me and go, you just have to have faith. Because she couldn't answer my question. And she just kept yelling at me and yelling at me. And I wasn't asking questions to ask questions. I was asking questions because I sincerely had this intense desire to know the deeper truth. And the reason I bring that up is, what has been the classic role of generic the priest? What is the role of the preacher? What is the role of the rabbi? That role is to interpret higher language, to interpret spiritual understandings, because there is this assumption that is the underlying base of all religion that you can't do it for yourself. Well, okay, I'm going to use the word BS. BS. The only reason we can't interpret it ourselves is because we are told we can't, because we start denying that voice inside of us. And so when a big brother, right, when our Orwellian society, when a big brother, big bother comes forward, what starts happening? Well, what starts happening is that you start believing that you need a priest to govern your daily existence,
so,
right?
To the extent that in your heart you're holding fear or self-doubt.
Right, all the above.
Fear and doubt. Those two energies create an uncertainty, an insecurity, and a willingness to be led.
Right.
So if I've got a little self-doubt working, I'm looking for someone who has a little charisma around their point of view.
Chutzpah, baby.
Yeah. If you present an idea with enough energy, enough confidence, and if your energy is greater than the person who's listening, they're going to follow you.
Yeah.
They're going to follow you.
Well, you know,
and it isn't about the quality of your idea.
Absolutely
it's about
not.
the quality of your energy.
And the ability for you to pay attention. You know, Archangel Zadkiel, our beloved Archangel Zadkiel.
Now, here's our example of direct connection.
Is Zadkiel, Archangel Zadkiel, for sure. And one of the blessings of Zadkiel, it always says, if someone presents something to you with more passion than you have for yourself or for your own commitment, then you will never be happy. You will constantly be led around. You know, it'll be like, lead me, lead me, lead me, lead me, because somewhere inside of you, you believe you needed the priest. And again, generic term, the priest. But when you become the priest, when you are the new priest, you also realize there is no reason to pay homage to that which is not within. When we can each find the divine within, then do we need the big brother, and the big bother goes away, doesn't it? And we're going to talk a lot about this in the second half of the show.
Absolutely. You know, there's two pieces I want to jump on right now, though,
just
to remind everybody.
Sorry.
and that is that I have great respect for spirituality and for those who are sincerely engaging in a spiritual path. There is spirituality and then there's dogma.
Exactly.
There is spirituality and then there is religion. They can coincide. There are many beings within religious strata who are holding a sincere and beautiful spirituality. This isn't about judgment. This isn't about stereotyping. What it is recognizing there are archetypes at work, and the role of the priest or the role of the governor or the role of the shopkeeper.
As we walk through the caste system.
As you look at the caste systems, these roles are actually archetypes that we lend belief and energy into. It's important that you examine, what do you believe in? Subconsciously, who's got your attention? You know, that's so true. I had another phrase coming forward, but I don't think it's fit for G-rated radio. Okay, stay G, stay G. I'm going to say G. But here's the key. I want to show you guys, when we come back, it's at that time, we need to take a quick break, but when we come back, I have got here, you see this, guys? 12 pages. I have you here, 12 pages of information that has just come down. She's fanning the 12 pages in front of the microphone. Okay, we're going to talk about this because this is not anything that has to do with a conspiracy theory. This is not anything that has to do with anything that's not factual. This is a factual thing that has just come down from our big brother, big bother that we feel you need to know about. Because, beloved ones, until you take control, until you become the priest in your own life, get ready to be whipsawed. So, Sri, it's that moment. It's that moment. We're going to take a quick break. Absolutely. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, while those on the radio are receiving a commercial. So those on the radio aren't seeing this right now. Those on the video, we have a word we want to share with you. Indeed. And that word is, if not now, when? When are you going to take charge of your life fully? Now, I'm not trying to say you haven't done a good job so far. I am suggesting there's more.
There's a lot more. And you know, there is a way you can lift up out of this, and we're going to shamelessly plug our Ascended Sanity program here. It is a whopping $22. We have done everything we can to make this program as affordable as possible. Go to our website, ShriandKira.com, go to the Self-Ascension Classroom, and find out about Ascended Sanity. It is quick, it is easy, it is 3 powerful, powerful sessions of tangible information that will change your life.
And here's why. Every one of you that is existing in one of these, this is called a protoplasmic jumpsuit.
Oh, baby. I like it.
You got one, I've got one.
We all have one.
Our body is our unique yet common denominator. We're all here, we're all having
You got 10 seconds, dude.
I got time. We have the same issues as everybody else in terms of basic human needs and functioning. And yet, as we continue to live our lives, we start discovering there's patterns. We get stuck in the same old ways. We have the same old fears come up. We have the same old relationship issues come up.
Indeed.
And the longer that you live, the more you begin to see these patterns in your life. And what we've learned is the only way out of that trap, of that spin cycle, of that treadmill, is to lift.
Yeah.
It's to follow a path of self-ascension, to lift off the game board into a more balanced arena that is authentic to your heart. That's all I'm going to say. Check out Ascended Sanity. You'll be pleased that you did it.
And you'll find it right there in our Self-Ascended Classroom at ShriandKira.com. Hey, thanks for watching. We're glad you're with us. Now give us a minute as we get ready to go back to our show.
Oh, welcome back. We're glad you're with us.
We are so glad you are here as we are discussing Big Brother, Big Bother, who's controlling who, right, Shri? I mean, really, who's controlling who? And this is where we left off in the first half of the show.
You know that symbol of the snake eating its own tail?
Yeah, yeah.
Who's
well, I had to think for a minute. I wasn't sure I did. It's like a circle, and it's not. Yeah, I got it.
Who's controlling who? Who's eating who?
Yeah, well,
ultimately, we're doing it to ourselves. You are in charge of you, and when you give your authority away to an institution, you're like the snake eating its own tail. You're saying, go ahead and cannibalize me. Yet, who did it? You did it.
You know, I have to just stop and say, and this is for Lauren. Hey, Lauren, it's a shout out to Lauren. You just mentioned a word.
Which one?
Cannibalize.
Ooh.
You know,
oh, there's some nasty stuff.
There is some really nasty stuff. Talk about who's controlling who. I had a wonderful email come in from an amazing woman who just I really adore, who said to me, hey, Kira, what is up with this? And she sent me all these links, which, hey, Lauren, believe it or not, I did go listen to all of them. I went and looked at them. And here's what's up with all of that.
What was that? Silence of the Lambs?
Yes.
Eating the brain. And now people are actually doing this.
And we're doing this. And then there's been this manhunt all over the world of this porn star from Canada who killed a guy on tape, posted it on Facebook, the killing, chopped off all of his body parts, sent them to the cops. And now this morning I see on the news that more body parts are showing up that have been mailed to schools in Canada. Oh. And so it's just out of control. And you saw that, you know, and if you didn't see, you could feel the look on Shri's face that, that's exactly what Big Brother, Big Bother wants. They want you afraid of each other. You know, wasn't it just last year that the big Walmart campaign, see something, say something, started? We're being conditioned. We're being trained. And you know what concerns me most are the beautiful young adults out there who are growing up with this as normal.
Yeah. When you grow up within the walls of a distorted system, and a system that really is quite tragic, because you take a look at these horrific events and they're tragic expressions of a need for connection.
Exactly.
A need for love, a need to be recognized. And it's so tragic, it's so twisted. And yet what is going on, the fundamental energy in our society, this Big Brother list we're about to share with you.
Big list!
It's all about separation and instilling droplets of fear. Now before we get to this list, which is pretty wild,
it'll blow your mind.
I just want to also do a tip of the hat to George Carlin.
The beloved, be-late George Carlin, who we adore. We did grow up with him, I admit.
George Carlin was around for a long time, and he was cynical. He was sometimes kind of nasty. He was very funny. He was irreverent. He also was thought-provoking. And he really marked or stimulated a lot of awareness in people.
Well, it's the classic comedy. It was funny because it was true.
And about 20 years ago or more, he came out with a list of 7 words you can't say.
Oh gosh, we're dating ourselves. If it's the 7 words you can't say on TV, that was like
in the 70s.
So just a few years ago.
All right, here's the thing. Most of those words you still can't say. A couple of them have slipped into the...
Almost all of them have.
Well, I'm not going to repeat the list.
Them.
That's true.
Yeah.
So we're not going there. What I want to just point out is there have been the forbidden words. And now he poked fun at these. And he says, why would we do this when we use these words in our ordinary conversation?
Right.
Yet we're going to pretend on TV or on the radio that we don't use those words.
Well, you think about how back in the 50s you couldn't even have 2 people in the same bed even though they were married. It was Ricky and Lucy had twin beds.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so did my parents.
Yeah, well, that's another show, my love.
That's another show. I have a lot to share.
I know.
Anyway, so we deal with this two-faced kind of thing in society, and we think that we can have honest conversations together.
Right.
So here's where I'm leading up to. When we send an email to a friend, we're not believing we're being watched. This is a private mail.
Right.
Just like you're having a cup of coffee with a friend and you have a private conversation. It's in these conversations we explore ideas.
Yet I've got to interrupt here, Sri. I'm doing my and here's why, okay? The past few shows, we've been talking about social media.
Yes.
Right? And we've been talking about how that works and all the other things. And so here you think you're having a private conversation with your friend on email, yet you'll go to a social network and post your entire life, where you've been, where you are right. Hey, you want to find me? Here's a photo of where I am right now.
So you look at what Facebook has done, and it's not just Facebook.
No,
it's the synergy between the membership and the vehicle.
It's the information overload, and if you haven't listened to last week's show, go listen to it.
So here you have this phenomenon of people wanting to be connected, people wanting to socialize.
And that's what it's about.
Yet simultaneously creating separation from true intimacy.
Exactly.
Wild what's going on. Anyway.
But is it contrived? See, this is part of the new caste system because it is creating a caste system.
So Facebook is the up-to-the-moment interactive venue.
But you have Google Plus.
It's the carnival of connection.
It is the carnival, but you have Google Plus really coming on strong.
Google's coming in, you've got Skype, etc. And so now let's throw in this shadowy, here it comes on camera, Big Brother overlord thing. Watching. Facebook has created the ultimate information
gathering
resource for those who wish to monitor.
And yes, Sri and I are still not on Facebook, nor will you find us there. It's just our one statement. We are on YouTube. We love YouTube. We love being out and being with you. It's just our personal preference not to be on Facebook, even though every publicist, every person I know is like, oh, Sri and Kara, you've got to be on Facebook. You've got to be on Facebook.
We have other words we can share about that on another show.
However, and we probably will.
We don't have a need for that type of connection.
Right.
And so here's the thing. When we talk about Big Brother, when we talk about what happened since 9/11.
Right, because it's really post-9/11 world. It's two worlds, and we all
with
know
it. With the Patriot Act, with Homeland Security.
So
we're talking about what's going on primarily in North America, the United States. However,
although it's globalizing.
It's happening in England and Europe as well. There is a huge amount of monitoring of activity going on, and this monitoring of activity, publicly, is to create, protect the state, to protect from terrorism, which is a very weird enemy to protect from because it's faceless. But that's another story.
Whole thing about you being the priest. Read 2013, Mayan Sunrise.
So here you are. You're exploring the world. You're thinking about ideas. You're writing emails. You're making posts on Facebook. Well, we want to let you know there's 300 and how many?
Okay, 377. Now, this is from the department I am holding right now. I believe it's 12 pages printed. This is from the Department of Homeland Security, a manual. This is a manual
that they just give their inspectors.
This is what they've just given. And according to this manual, the Department of Homeland Security breaks down its monitoring into 14 categories. Now, here's what's even more amazing. Before I tell you some of the things that they're looking for, because it's going to blow your mind, it would mean nobody's immune from being monitored. They admit in here, we are monitoring email. They also admit that Facebook is their single largest resource to monitor.
It's
and
so convenient.
We've made it easy, right? We, the collective, we of humanity. And this is why it's so important to recognize, what are you willing to sacrifice? Do we really need to be that visible to the world? Are we all that hungry for that? Or can we allow the inner gift of our spiritual nature to be what fills us? You know, Sri and I are going to do a little video, and based on when you're watching this, you might have already found this on our YouTube site or on our website, SriandKara.com, and it's basically why we're not doing what I call the circuses anymore. Sri and I, for many, many years, were very, very popular, sold-out crowds, thousands of people going around the world doing the quote-unquote metaphysical shows. Why did we stop doing those? And for some people, they felt it was very sudden, and I got a lot of emails from people who are like, oh my God, why aren't you coming? Why aren't you there? Well, we did a whole video on that, so we don't need to talk about that today. But what we can share with you is this. There is a time when you can illuminate yourself within so much that everything you need is right there, and those that are illuminated will find you. They will find you. You are never alone unless you choose to be. And especially with our DHS taking care of us with these 14 categories.
DHS, now that isn't quite in my everyday, you know, OMG vocabulary.
Department of Homeland Security. And, you know, I love spin on that. I mean, we could do a whole show just on word
Just
spin.
pause for a second.
Yep.
Where's your real home?
Yeah, hello.
Where's your real home?
Yeah.
Right here. This is
Right.
your home. This is where you live.
Yep.
The rest of it can change.
Now, here's what's interesting, and I love this, and I actually got this little ditty that I'm mentioning from a gentleman by the name of Simon Black, and here's what he says. He says, curiously, in its critical information requirements, this is from the DHS, the manual decrees, whole thing about a decree, right? Decrees that analysts, so we've got a whole group of people that have been hired to do this, should also catalog items, you hear how much is in this? Which may, quote, reflect adversely on DHS and response activities. Meaning, even if you're saying something that isn't directly on their list, and quite frankly, you're going to hear in a minute why that's impossible when we quote you some of the words on this list, if you are even saying anything that might make them look bad, you should be cataloged.
Yeah.
Guys, come on. I mean, take a breath on that.
Here's what's going on in a nutshell. The Constitution in the United States is being disregarded in an ever-continuous fashion. These words are trigger words for potential terrorists or counter national activity.
And according to the manual, when they
therefore,
do their scan,
if you use these words, they have the right to watch you.
So you want to hear what some of these words are? I mean, do you want to hear what some I hear people going, yeah, I want to hear. Okay, you ready? You got your glasses on? She's got his glasses on.
I'm going to rattle down some of this.
So
let's just say that you refer to any of these groups in your email.
And this is just a word, right? Remember, this is just, you're writing an email, might even have a totally different context.
Coast Guard, Border Patrol, Secret Service, Homeland Defense, the Immigration and
Those are kind of the obvious ones, right?
Like if you use the word agent or tax force or CIA or drug enforcement agency, Border Patrol, FBI, alcohol and tobacco, if you mention any of them in an email, Air Marshal, National Guard, Red Cross, United Nations.
Now, these are the ones you might be saying, okay, well, you know, I guess in a kind of contorted way I can kind of get it. Not that you would ever agree that it's okay that they're monitoring you.
Okay, here's where I get a little triggered.
Right.
The word attack. If the word attack is in your email, it's picked up by the ciphering software. It may not know that the word asthma was right in front of it, or heart, or possible attack to the nervous, you know, there's conditional words that go along with this.
Right?
Verbal attack. If you use the word agent, drill, exercise, cops, authorities.
No, wait, drill. Okay, hello, how innocuous is that? And I love the word exercise. Literally, this is
How about this? Prevention, response, recovery, emergency, shots fired, evacuation, deaths, hostage, explosion, police.
So you hear how some of these where they're going, but you hear what the others are? I mean, here's one that I just find hysterical. The word landing. Literally, landing. Okay, that's on there. And it gets even more hysterical, guys. We're going to keep going.
So the word emergency, incident, nuclear, chemical spill.
The word infection.
Toxic. Ooh, I use that a lot.
Yeah.
I'm usually thinking about toxic thoughts and
you
toxic
are.
people.
And I think we've even done shows on that. or how about some of these other words that really crack me up? The word chemical, or the word burn, or the word...
hazardous.
Yeah,
hazardous.
or exposure.
Infection, gas, burn, nerve agent. Oh, okay, then we can get it if you use the word North Korea.
Well, now, and that's another one where I know where a lot of you could go, well, yeah, you got to watch that. Okay, yet the reality is any of these words...
Virus, bacteria, Ebola, food poisoning.
Now, those three, I think, are the ones that are kind of obvious. I think if we look at some of these others where...
Well, I know a lot of people that are naturopaths, that are in the health industry, and we talk about salmonella, smallpox, flu. All of those are on the list.
Yet the ones that I find very funny that are more generic is we have, like, the word collapse. Or here's one, how about this? Telecommunications. Literally, just the word telecommunications. Here's another one. Airport, like, hey mom, meet me at the airport. Plane.
Airplane.
And here's what's great.
Or metro.
Well, and what's right after airplane is and derivatives, meaning plane, right? That kind of thing. Of course, body scanner, because God forbid you would say anything negative about the body scanner system and TSA. We're not even going to go there today. Of course, TSA's on there too. How about the word electric? Guess what, guys?
It's on the list. So now there's more pages. I am really hoping that they have smart enough software that looks for the context and the other reasons.
But that's an assumption.
But these words are their point of entry. This is what's been identified as legitimate reasons to pay attention to what you've written.
And you know, as I'm scanning and I'm still going through
page
all
after
of
page.
these, how about agro? Like the agro business, that's on there. And there's a whole thing in here that we haven't even gotten to about our food and the way we talk about food. The word emergency, the word flood. You know, there's just so many things. The word ice.
Well, I think it's the whole thing. You use narcotics, marijuana, Tijuana. If you mention any of those words, red light.
So the bottom line is that we wanted to kind of round out today's show by simply saying, beloved ones, you're the priest. You are the priest. You do not need to be subjected into a caste system that says you are less than. However, it is your choice. The world around you is bombarding you. There is Big Brother. It's not an illusion. This is not a conspiracy theory. Bottom line is it's there.
It is happening.
But we let it happen. We are the co-conspirators, every one of us on the planet. The question is, how can we move forward for the sake of ourselves, for the sake of our children?
And so the very first step that we all need to recognize is you cannot meet a problem at the level of consciousness, the level of energy that it was created.
I love that.
If you go and if someone's attacking you and you attack back, you're creating attack energy. It's time for each and every one of us to go inward into our own heart space to reconnect with that essential humanity, that essential ascended self.
Indeed.
And from that place, we'll start making new choices. From that place, we'll have a different influence in our world. So what's the reason we share this list with you? It's a reminder that the outer world will never provide the solution to the problems of the outer world.
And your inner world is calling to you every moment of every day, saying, hey, I'm right here. I've always been. Pay attention. And beloved ones, until Sri and I have the amazing gift, the amazing honor of spending time with you again next week, may you bring a hand to your heart, and may you know that all is truly well.
Thank you for joining us today for 2012 Higher Love. Remember that you can find out more about Sri and Kira by going to SriandKira.com. That's SriandKira.com.